Hi everyone, I hope all are doing good. In the last class, I explained about post-encode with the help of a clinical video. Today we will discuss about those steps in detail. First, let's go to the removal of endodontic filling material, that is gutta percha. What are the different methods which we follow in order to remove gutta percha from the root canal? Mainly there are three methods: chemical, thermal and mechanical. I hope all of you are familiar with the mechanical methods, and now I will explain about those methods in detail. In chemical methods, we are supposed to use some kind of oils in order to remove gutta percha from the root canal. Oils what we can use are oil of eucalyptus, oil of turpentine and chloroform. Those materials can be poured into the root canal in order to make it soft and take it out. Now let's go to the thermal removal. In thermal removal, we are supposed to use a warm endodontic plugger into the root canal. We are supposed to push that material into the root canal so that instrument will try to soften the thermoplastic material gutta percha. So that is considered as a most conservative method in order to remove gutta percha, because when we enter the warm or hot instrument into the root canal, it will not create any sort of perforations. So that is the peculiarity of this conservative treatment. When we enter this instrument, it will not create any perforation. It will just helps to take out the thermoplastic gutta percha material from the root canal to the oral cavity very easily. So that is the speciality of that material, but it is kind of time consuming procedure when we compare with the mechanical removal. Now let's go to the mechanical removal. In that, mainly two instruments are used: Gates Glidden drill and Vizorimer, which I explained earlier. Those instruments are non-end cutting burrs, means at the end portion these burrs doesn't have the cutting efficiency. That is given just to ensure it will not create any perforations to the tooth. So that's what we should be more cautious about. We should avoid all sort of perforations which are possible. So these burrs can avoid perforations as they are non-cutting instruments, non-cutting end instruments. So that is the peculiarity of those burrs. In this picture, the left side you can see a Vizorimer and the right side you can appreciate a Gates Glidden burr. Now I'll just roughly explain how to do the procedure. When a case comes to your hand, make sure you have a right IOPA which reveals the length of root canal filling material. That can be determined as your working length. Then you are supposed to maintain minimum 3 mm gutta percha on the apex in order to sustain the apical seal. Then you will, for example, when you get a root canal length of 15 mm, you are supposed to subtract 3 mm from 15. Then you will get a number like 12 mm. So that should be the length of your instrument which you are supposed to insert to the root canal, so that it maintains 3 mm of the root canal filling material apically. That you can do, that is possible with the help of a stopper. Stopper is a material which is made up of rubber and which can be attached onto these drilling instruments. So carefully attach stopper on the right measurement. So if you are planning to go of 12 mm into the root canal, then the stopper has to be placed at 12 mm on the burr. Then when you insert the burr during the procedure, you can easily measure 12 mm when the stopper touches the tooth surface. That's how you can easily make out whether the right depth achieved or not. That's how you should do the procedure. This video I have showed in the last class. Now let's go to the 6 key features of a successful design. Mainly there are 6 key features for preparation of tooth structure in order to receive a post-encore. First one is adequate apical seal, as it is very familiar to you guys, so I am not explaining it. Then the canal enlargement should be as minimum as possible, lengthwise as well as on the widthwise. Lengthwise, I know you all familiar with the 3 millimeter concept. You have to keep 3 millimeter gut aperture for apical seal, that you know, that is lengthwise. Then widthwise, 1/3 of the root width is allowed in order to make the post space. So post space should not increase more than the width of your, more than 1/3 of the width of your root. So that much should be the width of your post space. So you have to follow that strictly. Then adequate post length has to be there. It should not be lesser than that. Then you are supposed to give a positive horizontal stop, which I think you can appreciate as a number 4. That means you are supposed to make a horizontal stop so that when patient bites on the crown, that forces will be transmitted to the core material, which will be dissipated or transferred to the vertical stop. So that is helpful in order to attain a good prognosis for your post-encore treatment. Now another point is vertical wall to prevent rotation, that you can see as a marking of 5. That vertical wall should be in a higher range than the horizontal stop. As there is a vertical wall which is higher than the horizontal stop, the chances for the rotation is very minimal. All kind of rotational forces are being dissipated with the help of a vertical wall which is higher than that of the horizontal stop. Then extension of the final restoration margin onto the surround tooth structure. As I explained, the finish line has to be given on a sound tooth structure. You are not supposed to give the finish line over any kind of restoration, because when you give the finish line on a restoration, that means if that restoration dislodges, there will be a space which is available for the plaque to accumulate, which can cause more infection to the tooth structure. So all the margins, all the finish lines has to be given on the sound tooth structure. If there is any proximal caries which was present and which was filled already, you have to remove that on the proximal areas, so that the finish line has to be on the sound tooth structure. Now preparation of the coronal tooth structure. As I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned in that particular video which I shown in the last class, clinically you should see for at least 1.5 millimeter of coronal tooth structure from the gingival margin. That much tooth structure should be there in order to get a good prognosis for post-encore. That much tooth structure is necessary to get a good retention and resistance for the post-encore. Now coming to one more important concept, that is ferrule effect. The term ferrule is thought to be derived from the Latin word ferrum, meaning iron, and virola, meaning bracelet. It is like an iron bracelet which surrounds the existing coronal tooth structure. as I mentioned, the coronal tooth structure should be minimum 1.5 millimeter. And when you are placing a crown over that particular coronal tooth structure after post and core, some area on the cervical area of the crown will be surrounding that coronal tooth structure. That will act as a iron bracelet which encircles the coronal tooth structure in order to strengthen that tooth which is there inside. So that much tooth structure is necessary to get a ferrule effect. The ferrule has been suggested to improve the integrity of the endodontically treated tooth and prevent tooth fracture. How much ever ferrule you can give, that is actually increasing your prognosis. It is making the prognosis of the tooth better. If you are having a ferrule which is lesser than 1.5, you are not supposed to take that tooth as a good candidate for post and core. As you all can see, there is a picture A and a B. You can see a dotted line on the finish line area of A. That is known as its ferrule, that height from the finish line to the coronal tooth structure, where the core material touches the coronal tooth structure. That height is known as ferrule. If you have more ferrule, the chances of good prognosis become more. When you have less ferrule or absolutely no ferrule, that means the prognosis will become questionable or poor, which you can appreciate in the picture B. There are no ferrule when you compare with A. So when you give a restoration or post and core procedure with crown, in such cases the chances for prognosis become questionable or poor. So you are supposed to give a ferrule and you are supposed to do post and core or perform post and core on a tooth which you can appreciate ferrule. So this is another clinical example of ferrule. This area from the finish line to the core, that much is considered to give the ferrule effect, because on this area this crown gonna sit. When crown when crown sits on that particular area, that crown will act as a metal band which encircles the coronal portion of the tooth, so that the strength and integrity of the tooth structure improves. So the ferrule has to be there in order to think about. When you think about post and core, you should see a ferrule. You should see the place to make a ferrule. Now coming to the advantages of ferrule. It reduces the incidence of fracture by reinforcing the tooth and dissipating the forces, and it resists lateral forces from tapered dowels. When you give a tapered dowel, ferrule is mandatory in order to resist the lateral forces. Increased resistance and retention of the restoration can be achieved with the help of a ferrule. Now coming to the cementation part, the luting agent must fill all the dead space. What is dead space? Dead space is the space between your post and the post space. Your post, what you are providing, has to fill the whole space which you made as post space. But practically it is not possible. There will be some amount of space will be present from in between the post and the post space. That space is considered as dead space, which has to be filled with the luting cement. It should not leave without filling with anything. You can't just keep it empty. You are supposed to fill that space with the luting cement. That space has to be minimum. That depends on the clinical expertise, what we do, what we perform in that, as well as on the lab. So that space has to be minimum and has to be filled with the loading cement. Zinc phosphate and glass ionomer have similar retentive properties. They both have the similar properties. Then polycarboxylate have a little inferior properties when we compared with zinc phosphate and glass ionomer cement. Now when we talk about posterior teeth, retention is provided by two or more relatively short posts in divergent canals. When we talk about posterior teeth, most of the canals are divergent because you can't find parallel canals in posterior tooth. So in mandibular molars, the larger distal canal is recommended for post placement, and in case of maxillary molar, the larger palatal canal is preferred. This I have explained earlier. But in case of posterior tooth, if the ferrule is minimum, then you are supposed to strengthen the tooth with the help of increasing the number of posts. In that case, most of the posts are divergent. So it is not practically possible to give a post and core as a single unit, because as the posts are divergent when goes apically, it's not practically possible to insert that post as a single unit into the post space. In such scenario, you are supposed to make the post and core system in two units, two separate units, and after placing on the tooth, these two separate systems will act as a single solid unit. So that's what I am trying to show with the help of pictures. On the left side, first picture is the clinical picture of a tooth which needs a split post and core, that is called split post and core. On the above right side corner, you can see a picture of making post and core with the wax pattern, and left side down you can see casted wax pattern and metal post and core in two pieces. And the last diagram, you can see they have placed one piece into the root canal, and the vertical vent for escape of the cement material has also been given. And the final picture, you can see the post and core cemented, two units cemented and acting as a single solid unit. So when you give a post and core like this, the prognosis is becoming fair, because if the procedure was perfect, that tooth gonna last for till the end. It will not cause any problems for the patient, because you have taken every root canals, you have filled every root canals with post, and the tooth is taking support from that post and core which you are given. And after cementation, those post and core are acting as a single unit which is giving more strength to the existing tooth.